I knew my sister-in-law had been secretly using my prescription medication, so I replaced the pills with high-dose laxatives. She ended up soiling herself during her law firm's big holiday party, and now her fiancé is threatening to press charges. Hi, everyone. I'm sitting here in my living room, still trying to process the last 48 hours, and I desperately need an outside perspective. My name is Maya, and I'm 29. My husband, David, 31, and I live in a quiet suburb outside of Austin, Texas. The problem is his younger sister, Vanessa, who is 24. Vanessa has been living with us for the past 8 months. She moved here after graduating from a college in Oklahoma, supposedly to find herself and start her career in marketing. Her job hunt hasn't been going well, and honestly, she spends most of her days networking, which seems to mean brunching with friends and coming home late. David and I felt bad for her. We wanted to give her a soft landing pad while she got on her feet. We didn't charge her rent, only asked that she help with groceries and keep common areas tidy. It was a mistake. The problem started subtly. Small things would go missing from the fridge. The expensive, imported cheese I'd bought for a dinner party, a bottle of wine David was saving for our anniversary. Then it escalated to my clothes. I'd find my favorite cashmere sweater, which I'd saved for months to buy, wadded up on her bedroom floor. When I confronted her, she just laughed it off, saying, "Oh, I just borrowed it for a date. It looked better on me anyway." But the real issue, the thing that pushed me over the edge, is my medication. I have a severe anxiety disorder and panic disorder. It's not just feeling stressed. It's a debilitating condition that has controlled my life since I was a teenager. I see a psychiatrist regularly and take a daily maintenance medication, 4 breakthrough panic attacks. I have a prescription for a fast-acting anti-anxiety medication. It's a controlled substance, highly regulated, and incredibly expensive, even with insurance. It's my lifeline. It's the only thing that can pull me back from the edge of a full-blown, soul-crushing panic attack, where I feel like I'm literally dying. About 3 months ago, I noticed my supply of the breakthrough medication was depleting faster than it should have. I keep it in its original bottle, in a locked drawer in my nightstand. I'm very careful about it. One day, I found the drawer not fully closed. My heart sank. I counted the pills. 4 were missing. I asked David if he had taken any by mistake in a groggy state. He said no. I didn't want to believe it could be Vanessa, so I convinced myself I must have miscounted. I started keeping a closer eye on things. I even put a tiny, almost invisible mark on the bottle's label and memorized the pill count. A week later, the mark was slightly misaligned, and 2 more pills were gone. That's when I knew for sure. It was Vanessa. She was going into my private space, invading my sanctuary, and stealing medication that is crucial for my mental health. Medication that, if taken by someone without a tolerance or for recreational purposes, could have serious side effects. I tried to handle it delicately. I waited until David was at work and knocked on her door. "Vanessa, can I talk to you about something?" I asked, trying to keep my voice calm. She looked up from her phone, a bored expression on her face. "Yeah, sure. What's up?" "Some of my medication has gone missing from my nightstand. It's very important prescription medication. Have you seen it or maybe accidentally taken it?" Her face flickered for a second, a micro-expression of guilt, before hardening into indignation. "Wow. Are you seriously accusing me of stealing your drugs? That's disgusting. I don't do drugs. Maybe you should keep better track of your own stuff instead of blaming me." "I'm not blaming you. I'm just asking. It's really important to me. Vanessa, it's not just stuff. It's medication I need to function." She rolled her eyes dramatically. "Whatever, Maya. I didn't take your precious pills. Maybe you're just losing your mind. Isn't that why you take them in the first place?" She slammed the door in my face. I was shaking. I went to David that night and told him everything. I was hoping for support, for him to have my back. He sighed, rubbing his temples. Maya, are you sure? Ness can be a bit flaky and messy, but a drug thief? That's a stretch. Maybe you misplaced them or took them and forgot. You've been pretty stressed lately. I'm stressed because my medication is being stolen. I insisted. I'm not crazy, David. I marked the bottle. Pills are gone. She's the only other person with access to our room when we're both at work. Okay, he said, trying to placate me. I'll talk to her. But you have to understand, she's my little sister. She's going through a tough time. Let's not blow this up into a huge thing. I'll just remind her to respect our privacy. His talk with her was predictably useless. The next day, he told me, she swears she didn't take anything. She said you've been acting cold and accusatory. Maybe you should just get a lockbox for your stuff. It's an easy fix. Problem solved. He saw it as a solution to my paranoia rather than a consequence of her actions. I felt utterly alone and dismissed. The stealing didn't stop. It got more brazen. I bought a small, fireproof safe and bolted it to the bottom of my closet. It was the only way I could feel secure in my own home. I thought that was the end of it. I was wrong. A few weeks later, I got a refill on my breakthrough medication. I hadn't even had time to put it in the safe. I left a pharmacy bag on my dresser, intending to lock it up after my shower. When I came out, the bag was exactly where I left it, but something felt off. The seal on the bottle was broken. I counted the pills. 6 were gone. 6, in the span of 20 minutes. She had done it while I was in the shower. That was the moment I broke. It wasn't just about the pills anymore. It was about the violation, the utter lack of respect, the gaslighting from both her and my husband. I felt like a stranger in my own home, a hostage to her entitlement and his desire to keep the peace. I felt a familiar tightness in my chest, the precursor to a panic attack. But instead of panic, a cold, hard rage settled over me. She wanted to play games? Fine. I'd play one of my own. I thought about what she was doing. She was stealing a powerful, fast-acting anti-anxiety medication. What if I could teach her a lesson she'd never forget, a consequence directly tied to the act of stealing, and using something that wasn't hers? Something that would be embarrassing, memorable, and, most importantly, safe? I knew from her Instagram stories that she had a big work event coming up, the annual holiday party for the law firm where she tempeed. It was a black tie affair she'd been talking about for weeks. She bought a new dress, booked hair and makeup appointments. It was a huge deal for her, a chance to network and, in her words, be seen. My plan formed quickly. I had a bottle of high-dose stimulant laxatives in the medicine cabinet. They were the kind you take for medical procedures. They were powerful. I emptied 6 of my anti-anxiety pills into a small baggie and replaced them with 6 laxative capsules. I carefully resealed the bottle's safety cap, making it look completely untouched. I placed the doctored bottle back in the pharmacy bag and left on my dresser a perfect, tempting trap. The next day, I made sure to mention to David, within earshot of Vanessa, that I was going to be out all afternoon running errands. I then forgot my phone and came back 20 minutes later, moving quietly. I saw her door was ajar. I heard the soft click of my bedroom door opening and closing. Game on. The night of the party arrived. Vanessa looked stunning. She was in a slinky emerald green dress, her hair perfectly curled, her makeup flawless. She preened in the hallway, asking David how she looked. "You look great, Ness." "Have fun," he said, giving her a quick hug. She shot me a smug, victorious look as she walked out the door. I just smiled pleasantly and wished her a good time. Inside, I was a coiled spring of anxiety and anticipation. I hadn't told David anything. This was my battle. Around 10 p.m., my phone started buzzing. It was Vanessa's best friend, Kayla, who was also at the party. The first message was a picture of Vanessa looking pale, then a video with chaotic audio. I couldn't make out much, just frantic whispers and the sound of a stall door slamming. Then the call started. First from Kayla, which I ignored. Then from Vanessa herself, screaming. I let it go to voicemail. I played it for David. Maya, oh my God, you fucking psycho. What did you do to me? I'm dying. Everyone saw. I ruined my dress. You're insane. Answer phone. Her voice was shrill, panicked, and laced with pure fury. David stared at me, his face a mass of confusion. Maya, what is she talking about? What did you do? I took a deep breath, my heart pounding, but I felt a strange sense of calm. She stole my medication again, David. 6 pills. While I was in the shower a few days ago. So I replaced them with something else. His eyes widened in horror. You poisoned her? I didn't poison her. I replaced them with high-dose laxatives. She's not dying. She's just experiencing the consequences of her actions in a very public way. He looked at me as if he was seeing me for the first time. Oh my God, Maya. That's insane. You could have really hurt her. What if she had an allergic reaction? What if something went wrong? And what if I had a panic attack because my medication was gone and ended up in the ER? Or worse? What then? You didn't care about that. You just wanted me to buy a lockbox for my own safety in our home. My voice was steady, but my hands were trembling. Before he could respond, Vanessa came crashing to the front door, sobbing hysterically. Her beautiful dress was ruined, a large, dark stain spreading from the waist down. Her makeup was streaked with tears. She looked utterly defeated and humiliated. You, she shrieked, pointing a shaking finger at me. You did this to me. I was talking to a partner, a senior partner, and it just hit me. I couldn't control it. I had to run, but I didn't make it. I soiled myself in the middle of the party. Everyone saw. Everyone. She collapsed onto the sofa, wailing. David rushed to her side, putting a comforting arm around her. Ness, I'm so sorry. We'll figure this out. Vanessa pushed him away, her tear-streaked face contorted with rage. Figured out. She's a psycho. She should be arrested. I'm calling Liam. Liam was her fiancé, a corporate lawyer who lived in Dallas. They'd been engaged for 6 months. He was intense, ambitious, and already had a low tolerance for Vanessa's drama. The next few hours were a blur of screaming matches, phone calls, and threats. Liam arrived the next morning, his face like thunder. He didn't even look at Vanessa. He focused on me and David. I have advised Vanessa to press charges, he said, his voice cold and professional. Tampering with someone's medication is a serious crime. This isn't a prank. It's assault. I stood my ground. And stealing controlled substances is a felony, Liam. I have proof. I have documented the missing pills for months. I have a safe with a log of my counts. I have texts where she admitted to being in my room. If she wants to go to the police, we can all go. We can let them sort out who committed the first crime and who committed the second. I'm sure a court would be very interested in how she obtained and used a powerful prescription medication that wasn't hers. The room fell silent. Vanessa's face went pale. Liam's jaw tightened. He was smart enough to see the legal quagmire this would become. He wasn't protecting Vanessa. He was protecting his own image. A fiancé with a drug theft charge would not look good for a rising corporate star. He turned to Vanessa. Is this true? Did you steal her prescription medication? Vanessa sputtered, her eyes darting around the room like a trapped animal. I just tried a couple. It's no big deal. She's the one who ruined my life. Liam looked at her with a mixture of disgust and dawning realization. He didn't say another word to her. He just grabbed his coat and walked out. He broke up with her via text message an hour later, citing irreconcilable differences and a complete lack of trust and integrity. The engagement was over. My in-laws, Linda and Robert, drove down from Dallas that afternoon. The conversation was brutal. They initially sided with Vanessa, calling me cruel and unhinged. David, finally finding his spine, stood up for me. He showed them the text Vanessa had sent me over the months, dismissing my concerns. He showed them the receipts for the medication and the safe. He told them about the 6 pills she stole just days before the party. He laid it all out. Mom, Dad, Vanessa has been stealing from us, lying to us, and disrespecting Maya in her own home for months. I ignored it because she's my sister. That was wrong. Maya finally snapped after being pushed too far. Was her method extreme? Yes, but she didn't start this. Vanessa did. And frankly, the humiliation Vanessa feels is a fraction of what Maya feels every day knowing her sanctuary was violated and her health was put at risk by someone she was trying to help. Seeing the evidence and hearing David's unwavering defense, my in-laws' anger slowly deflated, replaced by a weary disappointment. They agreed to pay for the cost of my stolen medication and the new safe. They also agreed to take Vanessa back to Dallas with them. She was no longer welcome in our home. It's been 3 weeks. Vanessa is back with her parents. The job at the law firm, unsurprisingly, didn't work out after the incident. She's been ordered by my in-laws to get a job, any job, and to start paying them rent. Liam is gone for good. Her social circle has imploded. The story of her meltdown at the holiday party has become legendary, and most of her friends are too embarrassed to be seen with her. The consequences of her actions have snowballed in a way none of us could have predicted. My relationship with David is different now. It's better and more complicated. He sees me now. He finally understands the depth of my anxiety, not as an abstract concept, but as a real, tangible thing that requires protection. He's racked with guilt for not supporting me sooner, and we're in couples counseling to work through the massive breach of trust he caused by his inaction. I have my own therapist, and we're working on healthier coping mechanisms and, well, laxative traps. Do I regret what I did? I feel a pang of guilt sometimes when I think about the look of utter horror on Vanessa's face. It was a cruel, humiliating punishment. But then I remember the feeling of finding my pill bottle open, of having my lifeline stolen by someone who saw my illness as an inconvenience, and that guilt evaporates. She needed a consequence that was impossible to ignore or gaslight her way out of, and she got one. It just happened to be far more far-reaching than I ever intended. My war's over. The collateral damage, however, will be felt for a very long time.